What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what is moving it, and if this is a opportunity to buy or not. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve's down 6.8%, 289 the high, 264 the low. So it is getting dragged down with the broader market. Unfortunately, Rezolve didn't put out any news, no SEC filings as of today. Similarly, no articles really talking about it and no analyst ratings. So today it is merely at the mercy of the broader market. And right now the market is very fearful over several things. So starting off, we did have one data point this morning, and that was PPI. PPI came in at 0.5, forecast of 0.2. So a little bit stickier, so inflation, so not the greatest, but it didn't really move the broader market all that much. So the market was already kind of rolling over a lot of the fear from yesterday to today, and it's fixated on several things. So one of which is potential shutdown. So today is the last trading day before potentially a shutdown tomorrow. And in my opinion, as far as that topic goes, I don't really see that being that crazy of a reason to sell off. Only because if we look historically what happened last shutdown, yes, we had one or two very red days, but the market eventually recovered to kind of all-time highs. So I think the whole shutdown is just overblown, a lot of fear and blah, blah, blah. But there is a lot of stuff that's still, again, resonating from Microsoft's earnings. And because of Microsoft's earnings, even though they did hit their top and bottom line, they did give some fairly poor guidance. And that caused the market to really start thinking about just AI bubbles. So again, that's still kind of floating around in the broader market. So in my opinion, today, one of the biggest things that's happening to a lot of speculative stocks is that we're having a multiple reset. So for instance, in Rezolve's case, it's not profitable. So you kind of have to look at the PS ratio. And right now it is sitting at 109.61. For those of you that don't really pay attention to a lot of that, sometimes kind of growth stocks do tend to have a little bit higher of a multiple placed on it. But during events such as this, where we are resetting multiples, stocks like Rezolve get hit quite hard. And one of the main reasons why Rezolve did go down back over here, when we were starting to kind of consolidate back in October, one of the kind of the big things that did happen was a similar reset, so multiple reset. And unfortunately, Rezolve, that kind of set the trajectory for Rezolve to really go down. Similarly, that is happening right now. So Rezolve, still a lot of good growth in the foreseeable future. What's happening to the stock price has no influence on the day-to-day operation. A lot of people need to really realize that. But the only thing that would really influence is dilution. And as far as I'm aware, I wouldn't assume Rezolve would dilute straight out the gate again, considering what they just did and how that really impacted the broader market or Rezolve's kind of share price. But it's still, I think it will need some money in the next probably quarter and a half, in my opinion. But aside from that, if you do believe in Rezolve, nothing has fundamentally changed whatsoever. So take advantage, buy the dip if that's your thing. If you're trying to catch the bottom, I do believe that there might be a little bit more downside based on the technicals, which I will go over in a second. But starting off with shorts, they are increasing 1.08 million shares. 12.68% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 27.46 million shares overall are being shorted. So for those of you that tune into my weekend videos where I go over some expectations, what might influence the stock price, this week was going to be kind of a roller coaster. And generally we knew with Canada's potential 100% tariff, with just the level of earnings and the companies putting out the earnings this week, combined with the shutdown, this week was going to be a consolidation week, more of a red week. Shorts kind of knew that. This is probably why they did take advantage and they returned a significant amount. So this is why we did go from around 32% short interest to where we are now at 12. So shorts took advantage. That way they can actually free up some room and kind of double down. So unfortunately, I think shorts were kind of a little bit more strategic. And this is something I've brought up in the past about Rezolve shorts, is that they are very strategic and they like to hit Rezolve to break it based on the technicals. Looking at the options, we're seeing about 427,000 in calls, 119,000 in puts. So it does match with the lower common stock volume. 54% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 3 and above 250 for next week. So even the bulls are feeling like there is going to be consolidation going into next week. So this is unfortunately what does happen, like a lot of shutdown fear and various other things. Even though a lot of that might not be legitimate fear, like it sometimes snowballs and kind of false fear turns into real fear. So it looks like the bulls are feeling like there is going to be some level of consolidation. And then puts, not much real activity to really analyze for that. So far, only one transaction on the secondary market above $100,000, and it is a seller for $408,000. So big money is not really buying the Rezolve dip. Then these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. So similarly shows that shorts and hedge funds aren't really doing too much. Right now with that 263 though, it is currently trading between these 2 points, so this pivot and this S1. And so 275 and 225 is going to be the next strong target and support. So as I mentioned in my video yesterday, that 275, that needed to hold. And unfortunately, because of the circumstances today, it didn't. So this is where 225 potentially might be that next strong support. And that 275, which is rather unfortunate, that was very strong support because that was one of the main reasons why Rezolve did move higher recently, is because it did bounce off of that general range. Plus there was a lot of good other momentum behind the scenes within the sector. But as far as right now, 225 might be that next bounce off point. If that does fail to hold, then $1.95. And I think that $1.95 is going to be a very strong support. So worst case scenario, it might bounce off of that, but just take a mental image of some of those. Aside from all that, I'd like to say that the chart looks good, but it is unfortunately below all the key pivotal moving averages, so the 50, 10, 100, and 200. So not the greatest. It does really signal that we are in consolidation mode. And unfortunately, this kind of does give me the same type of sell-off that did happen in February, which ultimately led to the lows in April. And that's actually what got Rezolve on my radar. So I was actually looking at Rezolve prior to this, kind of was interested in the business. And then when it hit $1, that general range, I kind of figured that it was just a good opportunity. So I did a video roughly around here, I think it was. That was my very first video saying that this was a solid buy. This is where I also did indicate within my Patreon that this was a solid buy. And I think initially I gave a $6 price target on it, and lo and behold, that's exactly what did happen. Went up a lot more than that, of course, but as far as right now, this kind of shows that we are going to be selling off. But if you are patient, we might have another good opportunity similar to April 2025. Let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying the dip? Are you selling? Based on the market position, you see absolutely no willing buyers. So this is where you could easily see that 225 hit very, very fast. So it might not come possibly Monday, but you never know. There could be a lot of things happening. Stochastic RSI, that's kind of the only positive thing that is kind of on Rezolve's chart right now, which does signal that it's extremely oversold. So let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying, selling, holding? What are you generally doing? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.